Good morning. It is Friday, May 8th, 2026. It is currently 7:15 a.m. And I just want to do the weekly checkup so I can kind of, I guess, have an update of where I'm at this week or what I've done or what I messed up. More likely than not, always, right? But yeah. Okay, so a couple things, right? First things first, I wanted to if I'm being honest, I wanted to make this video originally to try to, bend and kind of talk my way through, some mistakes that I made and, how to fix them. But at the same time, I'm just thinking like, dude, you're messing up. Yeah, whatever. Instead of just talking about it and, walking through your game plan and how you plan to fix it, update yourself, whatever, upgrade yourself, right? You know, might have instead of doing all that, I'm just gonna start showing it through my actions, right? The way that I start changing and the way that I start behaving, instead of putting it on my like on online or posting it as a status or anything like that. I'm gonna just start actually just doing it, and hopefully I do the right choices, the right decisions, and they lead me to the right path, right? That's that's basically all I can hope for. But more likely than not, I keep on doing dumb stuff, right? Dumb mistakes, or you know, eh, it's always it's always the case. I think everybody could relate to that for some, I don't know, some reason. Anyway, all I'm gonna say is that yeah, I made some mistakes. Yes, I see my faults. Like I see what are my biggest issues, and I see them, and I try to fix them, and I keep on struggling with them. But they're there. I know that they need to be changed. I know they need to be fixed. So yeah, and I'm gonna change things about me and other things. I'm gonna change ways that I just approach other things, right? A big one is just gonna be you're gonna yeah, instead of like I said, instead of talking about it, I'm gonna just kind of like show it, but the way that I approach people or the way that I interact, I don't want to. I've noticed that I've been being too causing issues for somebody else, right? And that's completely on me. I need to stop, and I just need to change. So I'm gonna make some changes starting today. All right, they're gonna be some people might think they're drastic, some people might not, but at the end of the day, I'm doing them with the hopes that it's the right move forward. And if it's not, at least I tried to change it. We'll see. Other than that, uh, what else do I want to speak about? Oh yeah, I started reading again Game of Thrones, which is a fun fact. Game of Thrones was actually the first book. Well, I had a hiatus. I think I had a hiatus from it was high school. I stopped reading for a bit. I was still reading manga and comics because that was I've never stopped reading those, but I stopped reading books. I think it was like the Percy Jackson and some other books that I was reading, and then it just kind of like I just stopped reading actual books. So it was like just a stop for me. And then recently, that helped me get back into reading. I still have it. I think it was the first. It was the first online books that I downloaded as well. It was the first books that I had on an old iPad. Not even this one. I have an iPad Pro, but an older iPad that I had. It was the first book series that I had on there, and that helped me get back onto reading. So it has a very special spot, and rereading it, I'm catching so many different things that I didn't catch the first time around or in the show. And honestly, it's like it's sparking up. It's like restarting up the love that I have for reading. Again, which I was going through a very kind of like dry spot for that. You know, but yeah, some like how can I say? George has his way of writing is really good. He does have some really good writing. Maybe just the way that English people actually speak English instead of Americans and some of the other of the world, right? Um, it's they say things in a more witty fashion, or just in a way that is a bit different. It's very well written, and just going through, you see so many details, like so many things are different. You're like, man, wasn't he blue? But no, in the book he's white. You have the White Walkers, right? And then you're like, okay, well, the blades shatter when they hit. Here it's like, yeah, they do shatter, but they're hitting them a couple times. um Reading about Rob and when they find the dogs, the dire wolves, and then remembering what happens to them, it's like it hits hard right here. And you're like, dude, it's like you're rereading it, you're seeing all of the signs, all of the little breadcrumbs, all of the foreshadowing that is being placed. it, One example of this will be freaking the King Beyond the Wall, right? He gets mentioned on chapter one, I guess. It's the second chapter. The first one is the prologue. Then is the first chapter with Bran, um, a POB, and you're going through it, and you're like, it's talking about the King Beyond the Wall, which, if I'm not mistaken, doesn't even get mentioned. He might not even get mentioned in this book. If I might be wrong, but I don't think he even gets mentioned in this book. Or he doesn't get introduced yet. But we'll see. It's been a while since I read it, and there's just so many different things, and there's a lot of characters. Like, I can't wait to make it to Caitlyn. What happens to her, how she becomes Lady White. Um, Bran, of course. Now that I've seen it, right, it's Bran. Like, most stories, whenever they start off, and they all start off with the hero, right, after the prologue. A lot of times it would just be the hero first chapter, and he's kind of goes through it, which makes me wonder: is Bran actually the real hero of the story? It could be, right? Like, right now, in the way that Game of Thrones is actually stopped, right? We don't know. Jon Snow, from the last that I remember. Once I make it, I'll verify. But he's dead in the books, right? He's not alive. He's dead. He just, like, you just find out that he gets backstabbed, and that shit, that left me with, like, one of those moments where I was all like, what? My blood froze and all that stuff. So, you know, um, but yeah, it's like, this book it's bringing so much stuff, and I think that it will make sense that Bran could be the final hero, kind of like I think that, if I remember correctly, in the show, Bran becomes the king, from the where the wall was, because he was collapsed, right, from the wall down. He became the king of the Seven Kingdoms. Wait, Seven Kingdoms, was it? Or am I thinking something else? Oh, he became the king of that kingdom. Seven Kingdoms. I think that might be something else. But yeah, he became the king of the Andor, and Andor's the first man and whatever. Right, he became Bran the Broken in the show, and Jon Snow kind of went into kind of like an exile, right? And I just want to see, like, it's like, right now, George Martin has he can go pretty much anywhere with the direction. Like, we don't know. John might never be brought back. We don't know if Bran is gonna be the hero. We don't know if it's Daenerys. We don't know. Like, Daenerys was across the sea, if I remember correctly, in the books. She was getting ready to move over to Westeros. Yeah, Westeros. There we go. She was getting ready to go to Westeros, and she had her army with characters that are not in the show. Also, characters that are not in the show. There are a lot of them, and it's a lot of different plot points, a lot of different things that I just, well, I'm if you haven't noticed, I'm very ecstatic for reading this again. It's just sparked a lot of I don't know, a lot of happiness and passion, right? Which I was kind of feeling down yesterday, right, for a bit, but it's like that's the way that life is sometimes, right? You can't let it get you down too much. But yeah, I wanted to do a little show and tell kind of deal because of that, right? I have this cup, right? Dire Starks, well, the Dire Wolf, the Stark family, and it is a cup that is one of my favorite cups. It's nice, hefty, durable, um, and it's one of those cups that I have. And then my other one that I want to show is this one. Wait, can you see it? Yeah. Maybe this way. It's kind of like a mug, like a beer mug, I guess, right? For uh, for House Targaryen, and it has the sigil, and of course, well, you have my One Piece thing and some figurines from Dragon Ball Z, right? Every Mexican loves Dragon Ball Z, so there you go. You know, it's in our blood. You know, it's like he's our big hero, I guess. There you go. And yeah, so a lot of fun stuff on that. And yeah, just in general, I'm really happy with starting up the book. It's yeah, it's hitting the right spot. Novel wise, I'm starting to feel like the creative juices are starting to flow again. So I'm gonna get back on it and just try to get. The biggest thing is get my schedule again right with the sleep. I've been waking up too late, but if I can get back onto like 4 a.m. schedule, I should be able to read. I should be able to do everything else that I need to do, and write and get everything done. And I still should have some time to just chill or whatever, watching stream or watch a movie or play video games or something, I guess. Or some other hobby, I don't know. But yeah. Um, Other thing that I want to talk about, other than that, I didn't win the haiku competition, which kind of disheartening, right? I did put a lot of effort into them, but it also kind of it gives me. I'm really interested to see what the actual winners cooked up. I want to see how they put it together. What kind of haikus they made. If they even went with haikus, because you also had the option of just making 3 sentences, and I didn't feel like that was I didn't think that I just wanted to keep it with the haikus, but we'll see. I just want to see what the actual winners stuff looks like. Um, yeah, so I'm excited for that. And oh, next up is weight loss, right? I've since I weighed myself, I think it was like I went and I got myself weighted on the when I was trying to donate plasma last time, and it was I think it was like 2 weeks ago, and I weighed 178. They weighed me at 178, and right now I weighed myself and I'm at 164. I did have jeans on, right, and I did have like a belt. I think I might have had my shoes on and everything, so that's gonna add a couple pounds, right? But at the same time, I lost some weight, right? I mean, I am losing weight, which is good because I'm doing a very extreme cut, right? And just I'm just eating one meal a day, and I probably eat less than half of the calories that I was eating before. And I feel like I do feel it in my body. I feel like I'm getting slimmer. I feel just in general like all the stuff. Other than that, I got some heavier weights, and boy, they're heavy. I'm over here like trying to do curls, like I'm like normally I'm just like and I was only able to do two of them at one time, but they're 50 pounds each, which means that they're 100 kilos. Well, not kilos, 100 pounds plus the bar, right? Which is more than I did. It's more than before, right? And once I get used to it, I'm gonna put the old weights back on slowly. But I can curl them, I can squat with them, and I'm bench pressing them, and pretty much all my exercises are with that amount of weight, which I do because I don't like switching out the weights, and I'm kind of lazy with that. So instead of doing whatever squats with more weight or whatever, I just do everything with the same weights. Easier, less time involved, and yeah, don't have to worry about keeping track of all that. So yeah, but I feel like I'm making progress. I feel like overall, like my body's getting firmer, which I think is a good sign. And yeah, I'm feeling healthier on that regard. Although I'm hungry, dude. Like I'll be scrolling down either TikTok or X, and my feed is filled with delicious looking fat food like burgers, tacos, briskets, and I'm just all like, dude, I'm drooling. I'm living vicariously through other people, going through food and enjoying it, and it's yeah. But hey, it's like you have to, if you wanna get something, you have to kind of like make some sacrifices sometimes, right? Mm. And one final thing, other than that, there's just one final. Well, I got some things I plan to do. Like I need to change the oil on my truck. Need to clean. Like I need to clean the oil, the engine bay for sure, because I haven't cleaned it in a while. And I need to clean the inside as well. Um, it's getting dusty. Maybe buy some air fresheners for the inside. It has one, but it's the last one, and I need to buy some extras. And yeah, the tires are good. Everything else seems to be fine, but just refill the fluids. Maybe the air filters as well. I'll have to check those out and see if I swap them out. Maybe the windshield wipers. I think they were in good shape, but I'll have to check those too. But yeah, just maintenance on that. And the final thing is this, right? So I don't know if you can kind of see it. Give me a sec. I'm gonna do a flashbang. So damn, I felt I'm like a cadaver or something. So there you go. You can kind of see a little bit better, right? So this is where I donated blood before, right? And well, I tried to donate plasma, and this is like I said, they I think they overshot it. They went through the vein across it, and that made blood spill into like my body, and that's why I have this bruise, and it's kind of still a little sore, which is not usual or common. I still have this very bright red, and this is still kind of like a little, well, this is purplish, but dark purple, dark red, and then I have this, and I'm not one that would normally complain for things like that and whatnot, but it's been 2 weeks now. I think tomorrow's 2 weeks, maybe. Yes, 2 weeks, maybe three almost, or 2 weeks. No, I think it's just 2 weeks. It's been 2 weeks. I looked online. They said that the most that it should take is like 10 days, right? Let's say 10 days, 14 days. Let's say 2 weeks, right? Online, and then it should kind of like disappear, but it's not. So I'm starting to wonder if I should go up there, talk to the nurses, and see if they can tell me if this is just normal, or if it will just disappear over time, or if it's something that I should worry a little bit more about, right? I don't want to sound like some kind of like nagger or complaining or whatever, but it is at the end of the day, if it's something that could be more serious, like maybe still spilling, or maybe it did some other kind of damage, then it might be better to kind of like get it looked at, but maybe I'm just overthinking things. But yeah, it's been 2 weeks. It's still very very kind of like purplish reddish on there. But yeah, as soon as this gets like I get the approval, this gets fixed, I wanted to, my goal was to keep on donating plasma, right? Because that's something that I feel that I can do, right? That it's something that I help somebody also. It's something that I wanted to continue doing, but it's not the first time that they messed up a procedure. It's not the first time, right, that I had. It's not the first time that I had a mark like this, but I didn't know what it was last time, and I donated plasma before. And if I'm not mistaken, it might have been the time where they hooked me up from this spot again, before as well, instead of just right here. So I don't know if it's a common occurrence. It might be, but this is yeah, it's taking longer than usual to heal, and that's just kind of worrying me. But yeah, that's pretty much all that I have for updates, and hopefully through the changes that I'm making, the way that I interact. Oh, well, hopefully with the changes I make, that with the way that I interact with people, it shows, right, that I am just doing things without actually just talking about them. But a big one is, this is a big one that I do want to talk about, because it's not with the other issue. This is something else by itself, and it's a game plan kind of deal I have. I'm gonna just start talking to people more in online, and I'm gonna force myself to be more interactive. Normally, I talk very rarely, even on chats and stuff like that. I'll post, um, like I do a lot of their mini games or post just pictures, but not really too much speaking. And I think I'm gonna just start interacting more with people, and even in everything, right? If I play a video game online, I'm gonna try to use voice comms or just talk with people more. Whenever I go to the store, I'm gonna make an effort to just maybe say hi to the people as I walk by and stuff like that. Force myself to be more sociable, and maybe that's gonna fix some of the issues that I've been running into. Um, Same, with anything, chats, um, streams as well, right? I'll try to see if I can, just be in general uh, more talkative with just about everything. Maybe, who knows? I normally just watch one stream, but we'll see. Maybe I'll just start interacting more and with just people in general and whatnot. Streams, videos, like YouTube videos. Maybe just leave a nice comment as well. I don't usually do it. I do it very like not too often, but I think I'm gonna just start doing it as a way to be more sociable. And I hope that it doesn't come off wrong, because most like I said before, I make it very clear when I'm trying to get with somebody like romantically, but at the same time it's like just need to be more sociable in a friendly way, right? I guess friendly kind of way, but we'll see. That's one of the things that I plan to do, and I think that's gonna be good for me as well. And interestingly enough, I noticed that I'm not in that state where I was like before. I was afraid of speaking to people, or I was very nervous, like back in university. Like I went through the whole thing, but I've had interactions just this week, right? I had two. Oh, talking about the job hunt, right? I had two. I had two different interactions, right? I had a person to person interview, and then I had to talk to another person that helped me try to get the interview. So it was like a first it was like a um, it was like you talk with an agency, and then they helped me get that interview with the other company. So that's kind of how it went, and just interacting with people through that, I feel like the nervousness is gone. Like I don't feel nervous anymore, or I don't feel anxious doing it anymore. I feel like I have more control. I don't get you know it's 22 minutes long. Need to hurry it up. I just feel way more comfortable speaking with people, and I have a more I have a more toned down energy, right? I used to be, like I always talk about it, right? I used to be very friendly, but it was in a very like in your face, kind of like a chihuahua kind of deal, right? As well, very charismatic, but very you know like that. But recently, I feel like I'm starting to get back my sociable aspect, but more in a calm tone kind of way, like like this, kind of similar. And I think that is a good step forward. I'm starting to just you know walk forward again from you know this and antisocial mindset that I had built before. And yeah, so that's pretty much it. I hope that these changes that I'm gonna make, right? Nothing, nothing, extreme, nothing like that. I don't think it is, and they're meant to be, hopefully for the better, so I don't bother. Well, I don't cause issues for other people. Um, right? I hope that they show through, and you know, I had noticed that I was causing issues, with the way that I acted, and not intentionally, just it happens when you get in the heat of the moment. So I'm gonna try to control that. But yeah, I guess I'll see ya sometime next week or something. Hopefully by next week I'll have the job. I'm waiting on the call back from the interviewer. Like they said that they were gonna that she said that she was gonna talk to her hiring manager, and then he was gonna be they were gonna see, they would contact back uh, the agency, and then the agency was gonna let me know, and then from there I'll see if I have another interview or not, or potentially a job, right? I answered all their questions correctly as far as I know. They said that the interview went well, but you never know, right? And in that regard, I'm gonna continue with the job applications, with all that stuff, because until I have the job on hand, I can't, I can't slow it down, right? I can't, take my foot off the gas. So yeah, that's pretty much it for my update. And yeah, damn, bro. Yeah, dude, big difference, right? Yeah, I need to see if I'm gonna go up there or not. Anyway, see ya next week, or whenever I upload the video.